Hi, I'm here at the Phoenix Art Museum. We're going to talk briefly about a small episode in the life of this great man, Ranjit Singh. Most of you will wonder who Ranjit Singh was. He was a Maharaja of the sole Sikh kingdom, and he lived between 1780 and 1839. 1839 is what we're going to talk about a little bit later. He controlled an area, ruled an area which is called Punjab. This is a land of these 5 rivers flowing out of the Himalayas. And this was a huge area, northwestern part of India. The British could never take over that area because he had very strong Khalsa force. This is a lithograph of his darbar. You can see him sitting here. And he was not a very large man. He was a small man, and actually his throne was made of gold. I don't see a gold stone here, but eventually this, you can see it for yourself in the Prince Albert Museum in London. That's where it resides right now. You also can see from one eye, apparently had smallpox when he was young. These are some of the mahars of his darbar, and this is his lithograph of standing alone. What I want to talk to you about today is a little bit about his death. This is a picture which shows the tomb. It says of Maharaja Ranjit Singh by Samuel Bone in 1834 to 1912. The interesting part is here, if you could focus a little bit more here, is this tomb it says the tomb was built on a place where he was cremated with his 4 wives and 7 slaves. That's a little bit intriguing. How does a Maharaja who dies of paralysis on June 27, 1939, also dies along with 4 of his wives and 7 of his slaves on the same day? And the story is a little bit more interesting. Apparently, this was a ceremony of sati performed next day, despite dissuasion from the darbar for his Ranis not to do it, apparently. Lieutenant Colonel Steinberg, I believe, documented this very well in a book which he wrote in 1946. Apparently, early morning, there was a big line of soldiers who walked for about a quarter of a mile in a procession form for the ceremony. The soldiers up front were also playing some sort of a music. Maharaja's body was carried away in a gilt chair. This gilt chair was shaped in form of a boat. It also had gilded sails. Apparently, the thought process is that this boat, along with the sails, will carry him into heaven. This boat was carried on the shoulders of the soldiers. And this was followed by the 4 Ranis who were carried on the shoulders of their attendees on some chairs. These chairs also had a mirror in front of them and a small umbrella on top. Following them were the 7 slave girls who were walking. And then the whole Sikh darbar, in front of them was Prince Singh, who was the eldest son of the Maharaja, all dressed in white and barefoot. They walked for about a quarter of a mile, and then came the pyre. And basically then his wives, the Ranis, they got on top, sat next to his dead body, and then so did the slave girls. They were all covered then with the canopy made of Kashmiri shawls, very expensive shawls apparently. And then Maharaja's son, Khadak Singh, as the tradition is, took a torch and then did a small prayer and lit fire. The fuel burnt very quickly, apparently, and the flames were so high that a pigeon flying overhead basically got burnt in the process. I don't know whether he was cremated together with him. Another Gentleman who was a physician, Dr. Horingberger, was also at that time in Maharaja's court. He too described the same event in a different book, 25 Years in the East, I believe. So what does this Sati ceremony tell about Maharaja Ranjit Singh? It actually tells a lot. He was a secular king. He let everybody in his kingdom practice their own religions. His Ranis did not need to convert to Sikhism. The two of the Ranis who basically died of Sati ceremony after his death were Rajputs who had this, and so this function, this was a great honor in their lives of the Rajputs. In fact, when the kingdoms from where they came, when they heard about the news of Sati, they celebrated that. In fact, there is a picture hanging on in the British Museum which exemplifies this or puts a date on this event. He was indeed a very, very secular king and a Sikh. He kept Sikhi forefront in his rule. In 1801, when he declared himself a Maharaja, he took the blessings from by Sahib Singh Bedi, who was a direct descendant of Guru Nanak or Nanak I. He always called his Raj Khalsa. He always, and his Darbar Khalsa. He never put himself on the coin, or he ruled in the name of Khalsa and Sikhi. Such a great ruler he was. He also he listened to Gurbani. Multiple times he would go to Darbar Sahib, which was close to Lahore, and he would listen to Gurbani there. He also, as we all know, put the gold on the Golden Temple. He also constructed the Akal Takhts at Nanded and Bihar. So he at Patna, Bihar. So he was a great ruler who was a very, very secular ruler. One of the important events in his life actually highlights this respect which he had for the Sarbat Khalsa or the Khalsa Panth. In 1802, he married, when he was about 22 years old, very young, he married this beautiful dancing girl who was a Muslim. She was good looking, of course, and then made him a Rani. And then, in addition to that, put her on the coin, and that coin came to be known as Rani Mora's coin. This really incensed the Sikh hierarchy, and at that time, Akali Phula Singh, who was in charge of the Akal Takht, basically exercising his temporal authority, he had him excommunicated from Sikhi and basically brought him or asked him to come to the Akal Takht to take his punishment. Although he was the ruler of Punjab, he yielded to that authority, and he went there and took his punishment, which was about 50 lashes, but that was commuted to just a fine by the Sangat.